Good morning and welcome here to another video. Today we're on another BMW and this time we are on the R1250GS. We are revisiting this bike because I was an owner for, I think a year or something, a couple of years ago, around 2021. Almost the exact same bike as this one, only that one was a triple black, but it was the same year. The same facelift edition, and yeah, I got the opportunity to review this bike again, and I thought, why not? Let's revisit it as an owner of a 1300 GS and see how it holds up. So let's go.
Man, ooh, did you see that girl?
No, stop it, man. I saw it first.
My lord.
Nah, back off, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, good morning again on the R1250. Let me first say, this is my bike. And it may sound weird, but I've been working on some side projects. And one of those side projects is buying bikes and selling them for a profit. I try to, at least. I think I'm a really, really bad salesperson because I really want to keep my bikes. And in this case, it's not very different. So, but yeah, just take the opportunity to review them as well, because I think that will be a really good combination. Let's see if we can, yeah. But this helps a little bit. So, we're on the R1250, and as I said, I was an owner before, so I really know this bike. This bike is tricked out to the max. So it's quite windy again, but yeah, this bike is tricked out to the max, so that means that it has almost every option aftermarket that is available. So that's a good thing, I think, because this is a really realistic scenario of this bike, because everybody is tricking out these things. And that's one of the appeals for me for the 1250 is that you get a lot of aftermarket parts for it. And in this case, this bike has almost everything. So we'll go to the list as soon as we get to techs and tech and upgrades. But first, let's talk about my first impressions as a previous 1250 GS owner. So my first impressions are that as soon as I get on this bike, it feels really familiar. So it feels like coming home. And I think that's a good thing. This bike is really, really comfortable. And even, this is not the Adventure version, this is just the 1250. It's still way more comfortable than an average bike. So in this case, compared to the 1300, I think they're around at the same comfort level. Maybe a little bit better even, because the bike is a little bit bigger, so you get a little bit more wind protection, a little bit more of the protected feeling, and the engine is a lot more tame, I think. Yeah, it's tame. It's more nuanced than the 1300. The 1300 is still it's still a GS, but it is a pretty aggressive engine, and this one is really smooth and torquey and sounds really good. Sounds better than a 1300. So in terms of rideability, yeah, it's still a GS. It is really flickable. It's way too flickable than it should be, because it's such an heavy bike, but it isn't allowed to be as flickable as this bike is. But yeah, if you go in the corners, it's like this bike, I think maybe even better than the 1300, is giving you so much thrust and makes you a way more better rider than you actually are. So that sounds maybe a little bit weird, but if you go on a normal bike or an older bike, you really notice that you can't push it to the limit as this bike. This bike is just so freaking good. And it gives you so much thrust, so you can push it to the limits really fast. I think almost everybody is a good rider on a GS. That good. It's that good. So, yeah, of course the brakes are fine. The suspension, this is the ESA suspension, so electronical adjustable, and it's just absolutely perfect. I have no complaints there, especially on the road. It is just a really, really nice place to do your cornering with, commuting. Yeah, it's really good. So in terms of rideability, I really still give it an A or a 9, and maybe even it's slightly better than a 1300, maybe, because it's more relaxing, it gives you a little bit more trust. So yeah, in that terms, I think this bike is better. So, talking about the engine, let's go. We're on Dynamic Pro right now. Let's give it a little bit the beans. Yeah. Again, I think that's the thing with this bike. The engine is perfect. It is really torquey. It is fast enough. It sounds pretty good. It is not as exciting as it is not as exciting as the 1300, even in Dynamic Pro, but it's just a really good overall engine, and I really like it. Do I prefer it over the 1300? In many cases, yes. I think the engine is more characterful, a little bit less aggressive, and it sounds better. So in that case, I think, yeah, in that case it's better than the 1300. But in terms of sportiness and the amount of power you feel, I do think the 1300 has the edge over this engine. But I really love it. So in terms of tech, it's yeah, in this case it is pretty filled with tech, but it's also basic compared to a luxury 1300, because you have electronic windshield, and you have radar and that kind of stuff. And this bike doesn't have that, of course, but if you count that out, it's almost the same in terms of tech. It has the same display, pretty much, same graphics. It has heated grips. I do think the button layout is a little bit better than on the 1300, because you have the grips over here, a special button. You can adjust your suspension over here with a simple button. Yeah, it's just a little bit better. And of course you have the Wonder Wheel, but that is exactly the same as in the 1300. Keyless ride. I do like it to have the button over here. It doesn't make it makes less sense, of course, because why do you have a button over there if you can't put a key in there somewhere? But yeah. But in terms of tech, yeah, it is really good. This bike is really good as well, because you have the Jekyll and Hyde system, so you can open up the valve, so you can make it a little bit louder. So you have a button, and then it sounds a little bit better than the original. And in this case it has Denali lights, extra lights, and a really big horn. So a Denali sound bomb horn. So that's also really nice. Of course, we have the adaptive headlight, you have the cruise control, not the adaptive cruise control, cornering ABS, that kind of stuff. So it is still really, really nice. In terms of comfort, this has the rally seat, so it's a little bit less comfortable than the... Oh, he's going to red. So it's a little bit less comfortable than the normal seat of this bike. But it's still pretty okay, and I do think that the riding position is absolutely the same as the 1300. And it's just a really good, perfected riding position. And in this case we have risers that go a little bit to you, and I have the comfort grips, so the grip puppies, so that makes the comfort a little bit better than on the 1300. So that's also really changes the feel of the bike. There's big foot packs, so not standard by the way. So, but it is a really these are really good upgrades to make the bike a lot more comfortable. So I think as a daily or as a commuter, it's almost perfect. The only thing I want is a heated seat, but this bike has that option, so I only need to have the right seat for it, and then yeah, Bob's your uncle. Let's do a little short walk around, and I will show you why I still like this bike. So I'm selling this bike, as you may know, but I'm thinking of keeping it. I'm not sure to use it as a daily or as a commuter or as a another project bike, but to keep it in this state and maybe add some accessories to make it a review bike. So now we'll use the 1300 more as an off-road bike. Doesn't make sense, but as you can see, it's still a looker. I still really like the looks of it. I do like the rally scheme, rally E scheme, so it's the white and the blue. It has a lot of accessories to make it a little bit more good looking. Of course, we have the awesome Jekyll and Hyde exhaust. The big Denali lights, they're absolutely enormous, but I really like them. But I could also change them for a lone rider. Of course, you have the turn signals, which are always on. It's from 2021 until 2023, and then the 1300 came and they stopped with it. It has bark busters. Yeah, it has almost everything, and that's also the appeal of this bike, because it is so filled with options. I'm having trouble selling it, because it is really expensive to do this. And the thing is, always when I buy an expensive bike, I have the plans to do this, but I never came to it, because then your money is gone. But in this case, I bought it for a really good price. I can sell it for a good price, but I can also keep it. So should I keep this bike next to the 1300, use the 1300 more as an off-road ADV bike, and this bike as a more road focused bike, going to work, getting my girlfriend, traveling with my girlfriend? Should I do that? Let me know in the comments. But overall, I'm really impressed still with the 1250. I think it really holds up in comparison to the 1300. So if you're thinking about the 1300, but you're also still thinking about the 1250, try them both. And of course, maybe it makes more sense to get an adventure version of this, but I do like the flickable nature of this bike. So it's a little bit more flickable than an adventure. It's still a big bike. Yeah, really like it. So that is my short first impressions of the comeback of the 1250. Let me know if I should keep this bike or not. If you have any questions about this bike or about the other bikes, please let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, please don't forget to like. Think about subscribing, because that would really help the channel. And see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.